Okay, biblical question for you guys. So this is Exodus 20 verses 4 to 6. Thou shalt not make to thyself a graven thing, nor the likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, nor in the things that are in the waters under the earth. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not adore nor serve them. I am the Lord thy God, mighty, jealous, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon their children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So, question. What the freaking fudge? What the freaking fudge happened? Yeah, what on earth happened? Anyway, that is actually a good question. And here's a hint. There's a reason. There is a biblical reason for this. And here's a hint. There's a reason why I'm showing you a manger scene. It has to do with the birth of Jesus. So, if you look at, let's talk about why this commandment was given. So if you look at Deuteronomy 4:15, it says that they saw no form nor image on the Mount of Sinai when the law was given. This was likely because to emphasize the fact that God is not a superhuman being like many of the people saw their other gods. So if you look at like Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, the gods just fooled around and were big babies, and whenever they're like the Flash or another superhero, they would do great heroic things, but they'd also mess up big time too. In fact, there's even a story in the Iliad of Zeus being deceived by the goddess Hera and falling asleep. And God wanted to emphasize he's beyond all that. In fact, even among the ancient Greeks themselves, there are writers who indicate that, maybe this whole image thing isn't necessarily the best idea. Maybe the divine transcends these statues. Maybe by making statues, we're making the gods more human, which isn't really the case. Is not really true. Now, which even today in a Jewish or Muslim context would make perfect sense. Here's the thing, though. John's Gospel, chapter 1, John 1:1, and the Word was God. And in John 1:14, what did the Word, who is God, do? The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. That changed. We saw no form on Mount Sinai, but we did see a form in Bethlehem when the child Jesus was born. Or here's another place where we saw God, or we didn't see the full divinity and glory of God, but Jesus became man and died on the cross for our sins. God took on a real human nature, not just an apparition, but he became man for us. That changed. That changed. Jesus is both God and man. And so to reflect that new change in the covenant, yeah, that's why we use images now. And even in the Old Testament, if you look at the Ark of the Covenant in Exodus 25, verses 18 to 20, there were cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant. And yeah, so even in the Old Testament, and I also recall that there were images of cherubim engraved on Solomon's temple. So this wouldn't find in the Old Testament. This would have been perfectly okay, biblically speaking, as a decoration of the tabernacle to represent the angels. You wouldn't have been allowed to venerate it, and that is something that did change in the new covenant. But the idea behind that law was to emphasize the fact that God is not a superhuman being. Remember, elsewhere they thought that maybe if they thought that the God of Israel is just a God of the mountains, not the God of the valleys. And so God wanted to emphasize the fact that, no, I am God of everything, everywhere. I'm everywhere present. I cannot be bound materially. And that's something that he wanted to emphasize because, yeah, the other gods were just, they could be bound to their own mythologies. And God wanted to emphasize that wasn't the case with him. That being said, when Jesus Christ, God became man, the Word became flesh, to a certain extent that changed. Our relationship with God changed. And so just as we do not keep Sabbath, keep kosher laws and dietary laws anymore, so the ban on it, because of a new relationship with Christ, that was done away with. We have a very good reason why that old law was done away with in the case of Christians. We're under new law. We are not under the law. We are under grace. God bless.